Hello everyone, welcome to my first bit of betting content for the guys at We Love Betting. My name's Gavin. Absolutely no reason why you should know who I am. You might follow me on Twitter at ghorseful, that's me. So like I said, the We Love Betting guys were kind enough to ask me to put together some content for them to support what is already a great portfolio of videos ahead of your betting at the weekend. So yeah, only more than happy really. I'm going to be putting up a few anytime goal scorers. The anytime market, not a particularly new one, part of a lot of people's betting strategy over the last couple of years. Long gone are the days when kind of there was a bit of value in the lower leagues. We were back in rewarding left backs at 33 to 1 or penalty taking defenders at around double figure prices. Still think though, if we're prepared to put the work in, there's a little bit of value to be had in those lower leagues. So let's get started. First weekend ahead. We're going to start off the honour of being the first anytime goal scorer that I'm going to put up on these videos goes to a player that plays for a team that's I think probably part of one of the most formidable attacking units in the last couple of weeks, and that is York City. A pretty indifferent start I think for Nigel Worthington's men. Finished last season really well, playoff contenders I think in most people's eyes this season. Hasn't started too well, like I say, a bit of an indifferent start. Picked up just one win in their first 9 games. A lot of reasons down to that I think, namely I think Worthington couldn't name a kind of settled front two. Injuries and suspensions meant he had to chop and change those front two, and I think their turnaround in form is mainly due to the fact that Wes Fletcher and Ryan Jarvis are building up quite a nice partnership up front. And a couple of good results in the last few weeks are a testament to that as well. Those two are ably supported on the left-hand side. Ryan Brobble, who's coming on loan from Middlesbrough, plus Josh Carson, picked him up from Ipswich. I think those four provide a real key attacking outlet for them. They're playing really well over the last couple of weeks. That's good news for us. They head to a Newport side who are kind of just a decent start. I think Justin Edinburgh will be more than happy with his lot at the moment. I think just might be paying the price for a pretty small squad, a few injuries affecting that side, and I think 6 goals conceded in the last 2 games for them is testament amount to the fact that this York side can get at them. So who's going to, out of that kind of York attacking four, who's going to make the list first of all? It's Josh Carson first of all. Like I say, they picked him up from Ipswich where he had a pretty decent record, 5 in 30 odd appearances for them. He's already got off the mark with a stunning free kick as well a couple of weeks back at Torquay when York won 3-0. He was away on international duty last weekend, couple of games organised for Northern Ireland under-21s. He got booked in the first one, which meant he was suspended for the second one, so he's probably been kicking his heels the last few weeks. Raring to go, really raring to get at this Newport defence. I think he looks a really good bet at about 11 to 2 mark. Like I said, he's going to be a threat from set pieces, plus pace to burn up and down that right hand side. I think he can cause that Newport backline some problems. So 11 to 2, Josh Carson's going to be my first selection for this weekend. Next of all, little bit of an explanation about my reasoning for this one. I often look, when I'm looking for anytime goal scorers, I look at centre back partnerships. So I look at weak centre back partnerships across kind of all divisions, which brings us nicely onto my team, which is Coventry City. A really decent start for Stephen Presley's men, I think. When a lot of people look at us, we're a bit of an enigma, because a lot of people probably look at us and they say, yeah, Callum Wilson, Leon Clark, they're doing really well. They pulled us out of trouble, all those off-field problems we've had. And that's right, but it masks some pretty big defensive problems, I think. We've got a centre-back pair in there, Andy Webster and Jordan Clark. Jordan Clark, he's a right-back by trade, or he was last year. He's been brought in to play centre-back. He's playing well. I think he's getting the benefit of the doubt by a lot of supporters, because we haven't really got any other options at centre back. I think our problem is, if you saw the game on Sunday, we were at home to Sheffield United. We won that game 3-2. That gives you some pretty big clues as to where we struggled defensively. The game was going nowhere. 3-1 up, 10 minutes to go. Lyle Taylor for Sheffield United finds a gap between the 2 centre-backs and scores a pretty innocuous, well, a simple header from an innocuous cross really. 3-2, 10 minutes to go. Lucky enough we held on, but it's been a similar story the weeks before that. Martin Taylor popped up with a free header for Brentford when they come to Sixfields and won 2-0 a couple of weeks before that. And then, just looking at my list here, Tom Clark, Chris Humphrey, both in that 4-4 draw that we had with Preston as well. But I guess if you just look at the table, look at the score lines, we've got the 19th worst defensive record in the division, and it's a side or squad scorelines that are littered with inefficient, poor defensive displays, especially from set pieces. Becomes a little bit more difficult this week as well. Cyrus Christie, he's our normal right back. He's out for the next month with ankle injury, I think it is, might be an ankle injury. So Jordan Willis, who is a centre back by trade, but he'll be probably starting. He's only about his 4th game for Coventry at right back. So defensively, not most sound, which is trouble when we're heading to one of the league's leading lights in Wolves. So looking at that Wolves side, who's going to cause us problems from set pieces? The pin landed on Matt Doherty, their right back, who looks a pretty good shout at around the 10-1 mark for me. Always gets forwards at corners. Already got off the mark this season. He scored the winner at Bristol City a couple of weeks back. Played at Bury on loan start of last season, but his goal scoring record isn't that bad for a defender. About 7 in 60 starts. I think there was a couple of penalties involved for Bury the season before, but not to worry. I think we're looking at 10-1. You know, there's a little bit of leeway in that price with his goals to games ratio. Plus, also we add in the value that Coventry are going to be pretty poor at defending set pieces. So, after all that, selection number 2 then, Matt Doherty 10-1, I think is a good price to be involved in the anytime goal scorer market in Wolves versus Coventry this weekend. One more from me then, a bit of a shorter price, but I think we found a pretty decent angle. James Constable, a player that I like. He's found his way into the Oxford starting 11, which he doesn't always do. Hasn't always done at the start of the season. But I think it's coincided with a pretty decent run for the U's over the last couple of weeks. I saw them lose 1-0 at home to Chesterfield a couple of weeks back. They didn't play too pal in that game. They had Andy Wing sent off, so he's missed the last few games through suspension. Dave Kitson, who plays up front for them nowadays as well, he missed a couple of games after that with suspension as well. So it could have been a tricky little period, I think, for Chris Wilder's team. They've come through it really well. Had a little bit of a blip when they lost at home to Southend, but beat Northampton, beat Hartlepool on the road as well. So I think a side that perhaps I'll be looking to oppose, maybe sooner rather than later. But I think James Constable provides with an interesting angle here. He scored in his last 3 games against Accrington, which is great news because Oxford head to the Crown Ground this Saturday. If you want to hear how bad Accrington is, you don't want to hear me talk about it. Head over to Mark O'Hare's video. He's tipping up Oxford this weekend away at Accrington. So head over there. You can hear about how bad Accrington are, rooted to the bottom of the division. So no surprises there. 14 in 5 league games on the road in terms of goals scored for Oxford. A pretty, a more than decent away record for sides in that division. So James Constable then, to continue his good goal scoring record against Accrington. I don't think 7-4 gives you much room for manoeuvre, but with the angles that we've said, I think that provides you with a pretty decent way to get involved over the weekend. So let's round those